Hello, everybody. Welcome back to episode 6. So, this episode is going to be very different to the rest of them. And I think that I need to tell you a story for you to be able to understand how powerful meditation can be, but also where meditation comes from and the people that teach meditation today and what their intentions are, etc., etc., etc. So, heartbreak is a funny thing because I always thought there was two sides to love. There was the love for another person and doing things for another person and respecting another person and spending time with them and loving them and cherishing them and making them a big part of your life. But then I also thought that there's two sides to love, and then there's the hurt and the heartbreak and the sadness and the mourning and the grief, that the other side of the same coin. And now I solidly believe that love is selfless, and when we love someone, we shouldn't expect anything back in return, and not even their love, because human beings are on their own paths. Each of us are on our own paths, and we've each got lessons to learn, and we're constantly changing and developing and learning about ourselves, about the people that surround us, and also the environment that they're surrounded with, and the lens in which they see life. So I see love now as loving freely and without expectation of having anything in return. And I learnt that on this journey of meditation, of Buddhism. I learnt that I can be happy within myself without needing anyone else to make me happy. What is life if we only get happiness from the exterior, from other people, from other places, from other situations? Why can't we merely be happy in our own company, in our own environment that we create for ourselves, in our own minds? And 98% of the time, I can happily say that I am very content. I get excited over a cup of coffee in the morning, I get excited to go to work on Sunday night, I really look forward to getting up and serving other people and improving their lives and helping them without anything in return. Obviously, I have a job and I get paid, but I definitely go above and beyond what is expected of me now. But I wasn't always like this. So I want to take you back a couple of years when I fell deeply in love with a very special person who wasn't sure what they wanted and wasn't sure if they wanted me, if they wanted what I could offer them. But we had such parallel values, and it seemed to me that we could work together to create a wonderful life together. But that wasn't to be. I saw myself building a family with this person. I'd created a storyline for our relationship. I'd created a vision board of what we would be like when we moved in together, the house that we'd live in, the children that we could possibly have, the Christmases that we'd spend together, the adventures that we'd go on, etc., etc., etc. And then it vanished, and that person decided that I wasn't the path for them, and I was destroyed. My whole future that I'd created inside my mind within a matter of minutes had been swept away by the ferocious tide, and I was left crushed and empty, and I really couldn't understand why. And I was left with one predominant feeling from that relationship, and that was the feeling to serve. And I'd only experienced that one other time in my life, but I really wanted to serve this person and serve the life that we could create together. And I had that living inside of me. I was feeling the weight of the emotion and the weight of the thoughts and the weight of the questions that situation brought up for me, because I couldn't understand. And the more that I tried, the more questions rose to the surface and confused me even more. I didn't know what else to do but to distract myself. I didn't know what else to do but to numb myself, to protect myself. So I decided one day that I was going to save up a significant amount of money, and I would go and serve. And I would go and serve the community that one benefited me the most in my life, which was meditators, but also a community where it would be a sort of exchange, where I would give my time and my effort and my work to that certain place, and I would gain more knowledge of how to stop suffering and how to heal from that heartbreak. So I did. I saved a nice chunk of money to be able to volunteer for 6 whole months, and I would go and live with Buddhist monks and Buddhist nuns, and I would ask questions and I would learn from them, and I didn't think it would be as difficult as it was. So here goes. Let's take you on the journey. So, the first 14 days, I would volunteer at a retreat center for meditators. I would wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning and go to bed at 9 o'clock at night. And I would work in a kitchen, cutting vegetables, cleaning pots, for the people that were sitting and meditating. I would meditate 3 hours a day. I would have 20 minutes break, half an hour break in the afternoon, but I would work hard to give back and serve to the community that were doing hard work to transform their lives. And at first, I think I was avoiding the pain and the sadness inside. So for the first week, I was super happy, but not really happy. I was projecting happiness, and I was overtly friendly to people and overtly positive, to the point where I was trying to convince myself that I was fine. But as I grew more tired, one day floods of tears poured out of me. And I went to the teacher that was there, that was teaching the meditation to the students. And he just told me two things: to watch the sadness and observe, and two, to let it flow. Don't resist it. Don't push it away. Just accept that there's sadness flowing out of you. And it did. And when I was in the kitchen, I was cleaning the pots, tears were just pouring. And then when I was meditating, I'd sit and I would observe the sadness. I would just watch it. I would feel it pour out of me. There's so much sadness just coming out. And that was probably, 6 or more months of sadness from that experience of being heartbroken and a door opening. And I felt lighter, but I could still feel that sadness living inside of me. After those 2 weeks, I went and moved into a meditation centre, a retreat centre in the middle of Derbyshire. And I turned up, and it was the first time that I'd seen a Buddhist monk. He wasn't as welcoming than I sort of envisioned a monk to be. He wasn't horrible, but by any means, but he was very just direct and keeping things very simple. And it was the first time that I'd stepped into a religious place where I felt Buddhism was a religion. I walked in and there's this huge, beautiful golden Buddha, and there was such an atmosphere. I just couldn't wait to be able to sit in those rooms and meditate. And I was just desperate for knowledge. I just wanted to take in as much information as possible. And there was several nuns that lived there. There were several monks that lived there. They all held classes on different nights. And I would go to as many as possible, especially the head monk that was there. And I would go in and I would sit on my meditation stool that I'm on now, and I would just listen to the Dharma. And he'd get his book out by his guru, and he'd read and he'd comment, and he'd read and he'd comment, and he'd just step by step take me through Dharma like I'd never heard or perceived it before. So everything that I'm talking to you about in these Manage Your Mind talks are things that I'd learned on this journey. So in the day, we'd wake up at 8 o'clock, we'd all meet, and then I would clean for hours and hours and hours, to clean rooms, clean toilets. I would hoover, And at first, I was resistant. And I'd felt this resistance in the first place, and I'd felt this resistance in the second place, because I wasn't getting paid to do the job. Yeah, I wasn't paying to sleep there, I wasn't paying for the food, but I wasn't getting paid, and there was this huge resistance there, where I felt like there needed to be an exchange. But some of the long-term volunteers that were there, I just spent time with them and asked them questions. And the more that I spent time with them, the more I admired them. Because of course, they did their shifts. They worked the same hours as we did. But then in the evenings, they would volunteer their time to either work in the kitchen or to clean up the dining room or to set up the temples or to greet people and talk to people afterwards. So I was just like, wow, like that selflessness right there. And that really inspired me. Really inspired me. Because I knew that they were doing this because they had been transformed, and they were trying to give other people visiting the centre the knowledge and the beauty that they had received. It was so beautiful to see. And I knew I wanted to be like that. I wanted to make a difference. I wanted to practice selflessness. I wanted to be a better person. I didn't want to be selfish anymore. I didn't want for happiness to be about gaining things from other people. I wanted it to be about giving happiness to other people and receiving happiness from that. And that was the best gift. That was the best gift that I'd received on that journey so far. Because I wanted to be happy, but I didn't want my happiness to depend on others loving me, or others liking me, or others taking from me. I just wanted happiness to be pure, and for me to live day after day after day in the same happiness that I felt when I was in love with someone. And then one day, I passed the head monk in a corridor, and he asked me, "How long are you here for?" And I said, "Well, I'm going to be here around about 3 months, maybe a little bit more." And he said, "What are you running away from?" And I said, "I don't think I'm running away from anything anymore, but I think I'm running towards something." And that was so true. because I was sick of running. I was sick of avoiding and wanting others to love me and like me and to give me things in return. So I asked him, I said, I'm feeling sadness inside. I felt it for so long. And I don't know how to get rid of it. And he told me, you're feeling sadness because you're holding on to it. You're feeling sadness because you're holding on to it. I was clutching onto it. And I was afraid of change. And I walked away and I had to process what that meant. What was I? Was I just holding on to the sadness, or was I holding on to something else as well? I came to the conclusion, yes, I was holding on to sadness, but also I was holding on to a past version of myself. And I needed to let go and pop that ego down and step in the shoes of the people that were really serving and giving their time in order to grow. So that's what I did. Anytime someone needed help in the kitchen, I did it. And after every dinner, I would collect people's plates and the knives and forks, and I would wash them for them. And I don't even know why I'm getting upset over this. I think it's because I started to be a better person. And anytime someone needed me to work in the temple, I'd work in the temple. Every time they needed a hand, I was there, I was the hand. And in the evenings, they were giving me knowledge, and they were talking to me about impermanence, and they were talking to me about attachment, and they were talking to me about the life of the Buddha and community and how to treat people and karma. And everything just started to make sense. Everything just started to piece together so easily. And I started to understand it. Like really understand it. Like it all just fell into place. And I just kind of thought, this is what I've been missing. Like the universe had sort of pushed me into this position and placed me with these beautiful people that were doing beautiful things every day and treated everyone with respect and dignity and love. I'm not crying out of sadness. I'm crying out of relief, and happiness, and love, and joy. That places like that exist. To the point where I've even considered becoming a monk. I've even considered giving up the idea of marriage, the idea of children, the idea of like just giving up sex and giving up all material possessions and just being with these people, surrounding myself with these people. And that answer's still in the air. I still might be. So if you're in a place where you don't feel particularly good about yourself or even like yourself, volunteer. Really try to get to know the people that volunteer. It doesn't have to be at a Buddhist centre, it could be at a charity shop. But just surround yourself by people that are giving up their time and try to understand why they're doing it. Because there's a power in giving up your time for something. I remember a very special time where the Dalai Lama's main assistant, came and did teachings on emptiness. And I sat, and they were so respectful when he arrived, and they all sort of bowed to him like this, as like low as they could, and they would just follow him around the room, just like a graciousness and a subservient beauty of, I'm here to care for you, I'm here to learn from you, you're my teacher, you're so full of wisdom. It was so bewildering at first, but it was so powerful. The amount of respect that they had for their teachers was just amazing. It was just confounding. And then the finale, should we say, and the finale of my venture was to go and do another 10 days of silence. Now, I'd already done it twice before in previous years. The first time was difficult and it was challenging, but it sort of cracked the shell open. The second time that I did it was horrendous. Like I wanted to leave like every single day. I could hardly meditate and face that darkness. It literally smashed me to bits, and I was in pieces because of it. But then this time that I did it, because I'd gone and lived the life of a Buddhist for the past 6 months, I found it so easy. And because I'd been volunteering and working for 6 whole months for other people, I had so much more respect for the people that were cooking my food and cleaning the toilets and preparing for our arrival and taking care of us on that journey. And I felt safe because I'd just gone and done that experience. I'd just gone and learned that journey. So to have 10 whole days to meditate, and yeah, you'd wake up at 4 and you'd meditate until 9 o'clock at night, and then you would eat at 6 o'clock in the morning and at 12 o'clock, and then you would fast then until the very next day. And every night there was a lecture on screen, and I'd already done it previously, But I understood it this time. And everything that Goenka, the teacher, was saying, even though I'd heard it previously twice, like it just sat in me and just cemented everything that I'd learned on that journey. And I found the experience easy, like I'd just come home, like I could sleep peacefully and I could appreciate every single bowl of food that I was eating in the dining area. And when I meditated, I could really sink into that meditation. And then it was time to leave and use the rest of the money that I'd saved up to move into a house on myself and have space on myself, and to get a job where I could serve people and make a difference and pass on the knowledge, the beautiful knowledge that I'd gained from all of these fantastic, dedicated human beings. And now I just share it on every single day. That's all I want to do, is share the knowledge that I'd learned, and to share how I'd gone from being completely heartbroken and only receiving vast happiness from other people, to the other end of it, where I realized what happiness was and where it came from and how to harness it, and what sadness was and how to hold it and how to transform it. But I'd also become a better person during that journey. And I'd taken those eggshells on the floor and I just left them there because I didn't need them anymore. I didn't need these barriers. I didn't need this shell of what I think I should be, or what other people think I should be, or what I think other people think I should be. I'm just true to myself now. I'm just true to who I am today. And that's how I want to carry on living. I want to educate people. I want to transform lives. I want to be happy. And I am happy. But that took a while to get to. And that was such an amazing journey. So I'm going to leave it there. I hope that you got a little bit from that, even though I cried and sobbed most of the way through it. But I hope you have an amazing weekend, and I'll see you soon.